The US is hammering Iran over and over again, unleashing its full range of bombers to cripple the country's missile-based strategy. Now, something that the US built in 1950s is crushing all of the weapons Iran wanted to use in 2026. The B-52 Stratofortress has been unleashed, and it's conducting some of the most devastating strikes that Iran has seen so far. Iran's missiles are no more, and its regime is facing up to a very simple fact. This is just the beginning. We'll tell you why that is later in the video. First, there's what the US has been doing with its B-52s now that it has established air superiority, and some might even say supremacy, over Iran, in the wake of the US and Israel destroying 80% of Iran's air defenses. The week leading up to March 9th has seen the US unleash constant strikes against Iran after its stealth bombers and fighter jets crippled the air defenses that Iran could have used to stop those strikes. The B-52 has been at the heart of these attacks, as US Central Command has made clear by releasing footage of these old bombers taking off en route to the country. What we have here is the sledgehammer after the surgical strikes. The US is able to use the oldest bomber that it has in its fleet to fly deep within Iranian territory now that the air defense threat has been practically canceled out. The B-52 pilots still have to be careful. Isolated air defense systems still remain, though America's bombers are getting a helping hand from several sources that we'll uncover in a moment. But what the US is now doing is using its B-52s to rain down immense amounts of firepower on Iran, and those bombers have one type of target that they're hitting with abandon: Iran's missile infrastructure. Max Afterburner explains more, stating that America's F-22 and F-35 stealth airframes have taken out whatever defenses that Iran had. EA-18 Growlers have also helped to create safe aerial corridors inside Iran, which allowed the B-52s to fly directly where they need to go to strike their targets. Those other airframes are creating a pathway for the B-52 Stratofortress to make its way into Iran and do some big things, as we're seeing, because the B-52 is hammering what's left of the missile network from Iran, hammering the production facilities as well, Afterburner says. The War Zone, or TWC, expands on what America's B-52s have been doing, noting that the first of these bombers that arrived in Iran attacked intelligently as Iran's air defenses were being crippled. That first wave of B-52s arrived from bases in the United States, conducting 30-plus-hour round trips in the process to deliver HEM-158 JASSM missiles to targets throughout the country. This approach overcame the lack of stealth in the B-52 itself. The HEM-158 is a stealthy cruise missile that could pass by Iran's air defenses undetected. Firing those missiles from a distance, perhaps even from outside of Iran's airspace via bases in Iraq or other friendly Gulf countries, allowed the US to hit hard with its aging bombers without risking them to Iran's air defenses. The situation has changed with the latest strikes. As for Iran, it's feeling the pain from what the US is doing. Afterburner's mentions of America using its B-52s to take out what's left of Iran's missile infrastructure demonstrate a clear tactic at play, and it's working. According to I-24 News, Israel is claiming that about 70% of Iran's missile launchers have been taken out of commission already, which has severely limited Iran's ability to strike back at the US or Israel. Iran has been able to salvage some of its damaged launchers, the outlet reports, but they are being moved into underground facilities that are being targeted with bunker-busting bombs, so they're not much use even if they're repaired. The Wall Street Journal adds that Iran's missile threat has been so thoroughly degraded that what was meant to be a saturation strategy has devolved into Iran taking risky potshots at its enemies with limited launches. Iran's ballistic missile launches were down 90% compared to the first day of the war by March 6th, as it seems that Iran has been forced to focus on persistent small strikes ahead of the volume that it favors, all due to the B-52s and the other airframes that have been crippling its missile network. So, the US strategy here is simple. Keep hitting Iran's missiles hard, and persistence will degrade into non-existence. That's what we've seen with the most recent uses of the B-52 in Iran. Afterburner explains, noting that just 2 hours before he published his March 9 analysis, footage was released of America's bombers scoring direct hits on Iranian ballistic missile launchers, along with the country's missile production facilities. Don't underestimate the importance of these secondary strikes. While the priority was always to take Iran's missile launchers out of the game, along with destroying as much of the country's ballistic missile stockpiles as possible, Iran also had ambitious plans for building up that stockpile in the coming years. According to the Israeli military, Iran has been ramping up its missile production in recent months, with the eventual goal being to build a stockpile of 8,000 ballistic missiles by 2027. That can't be allowed to happen. Having that many missiles would allow Iran to devastate almost any target in the Middle East with its preferred saturation strategy, assuming that it's able to hide enough of its launchers away as the B-52 strike. So, what we're seeing the US do here is switch its focus to the means of missile conduction, now that it has bombed Iran's missile launchers and existing stockpiles so heavily that they have been forced to go into hiding. The goal here is to make Iran's missile production stagnant, which means that every launch that Iran's regime attempts from now on eats into a stockpile that isn't getting replenished due to B-52 bombers destroying the facilities that make Iran's ballistic missiles. It's a brilliant move by the US. And the B-52s are getting a helping hand to ensure that they hit Iran precisely as well as heavily. We mentioned that helping hand earlier in the video, and Afterburner explains where it's coming from. Likely these strikes, some of them, coming from the B-52 with a Predator drone doing ISR, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, Afterburner says. In other words, the US has evolved its bomber strategy by using drones to scout out the area. The Predators are carrying out battle damage assessments to see what's been hit, what remains to be hit, and what Iran has that could pose a threat to the B-52s as they move in for the next kill. What this allows the B-52 pilots to do is not only chart the safe aerial corridors that had already been created during the initial days of the Iran war, but also find safe offshoot paths toward targets that have yet to be hit. It's an extremely efficient way to use drones that, unless they're attacking, aren't going to present enough of a threat to the stragglers of Iran's air defense network to become targets themselves. And what we may be seeing here is the US taking a few lessons from the Ukraine war, particularly in terms of using drones to conduct reconnaissance and intelligence gathering, and applying those lessons to multiply the force being delivered by an aerial arsenal that is far more advanced and powerful than the one at Ukraine's disposal. Predators are well suited to this particular job too, as they have been designed with endurance and multi-mission functionality in mind. The drone has a range of 770 miles, meaning it can scout a large area ahead of a B-52 bombing raid. Able to climb to an altitude of 25,000 feet, the Predator can also stay out of the range of many of Iran's air defense systems. The unit cost is a little high, at $20 million, though a single Predator unit actually includes 4 of the drones, along with sensors, a ground control station, and a satellite link. In this drone, the US has and is deploying an intelligence-gathering machine that also just so happens to be capable of attacking a target with its 450-pound payload, if the time calls for it. And on top of the information coming in from drones, the B-52 pilots are receiving more data from other sources. I mean, they can see exactly where these targets are, Afterburner says of the B-52s. And they're being pumped information from other fighters, MQ-9s, RQ-4 Global Hawks, pumping information to the B-52 in real time to show it where these targets are and what needs to be struck next. What this means is that America's B-52s can execute their strikes in waves. They hit hard, restock, come back, and then hit hard again at a whole new raft of targets. And with a combat range that is in excess of 8,800 miles, the B-52 can essentially loiter in the skies as its pilot waits for the next piece of information. The next target comes in, a button is pressed, and a precision bomb gets sent flying in the direction of whatever needs to be hit. It's an extremely effective approach, and we'll tell you why in just a moment. But before we get into that, this is the military show. If you haven't subscribed yet, now is the perfect time to hit the button so you never miss the latest Iran war news. According to Afterburner, this approach, which had followed on from the initial wave of B-52 strikes, had led to America's aging bombers striking 200 targets in the 72 hours leading up to March 9. And each of these strikes takes another slice out of Iran's missile power. When the B-52 hits, Iran loses a launcher. Or it loses a missile stockpile, or one of the tunnels that it uses to transport missiles around its underground bases. And with each of these losses, Iran also loses the ability to conduct attacks against Israel, U.S. bases, or the Gulf neighbors who are directly or indirectly supporting the American war effort. What the U.S. is doing here is turning Iran into a country that has a missile-focused military doctrine, but no missiles to follow it through. It's doing all of this with a bomber that is well over 60 years old, but don't let that age fool you. The B-52 is far from a creaking airframe that the U.S. is deploying because it has nothing better in its arsenal. This is the same bomber that the U.S. Air Force points out delivered about 40% of all weapons that coalition forces dropped during Operation Desert Storm. And what's happening in Iran right now is proof that the B-52 is still the deliverer of immense amounts of firepower that it has always been. Sure, it's not a stealth bomber like the B-2 that the U.S. used in its initial strikes, but the B-52 can still reach speeds of Mach 0.84, or around 650 miles per hour, and it carries about 70,000 pounds of weapons, which can include bombs, missiles, and even mines. And it's this payload capacity that is the entire point. Unlike a fighter jet, which can unload a handful of missiles and perhaps a few bombs, the B-52 can rattle off dozens of precision bombs in a single attack, often taking out multiple targets per sortie before it needs to be reloaded with new bombs. As the Iran war goes on, we're also seeing the role that the B-52 plays start to evolve. We mentioned earlier that the first B-52s that the US used fired standoff weapons, likely from the territory of friendly countries. But as more of Iran's air defense network has collapsed, a change in approach has started. Afterburner explains more, stating, "These B-52s can roll in, release their cruise missiles from a standoff distance, and then just continue flying in. With air superiority established in Iran, the B-52s can follow up their initial waves of attacks with strikes from inside Iran itself. It's likely that the bombers are firing Joint Direct Attack Munitions, or JDAMs, loaded with 2,000-pound bombs for this purpose. And with a 70,000-pound payload, the B-52 can bring 35 of these heavy-hitting bombs to a strike, which it can use to utterly devastate a target. That's what we're seeing throughout Iran right now. And thanks to another recent development, we're likely going to be seeing a lot more of it in the coming days. Stick with us, and we'll explain why. But before we get to that, Afterburner adds that what we're now seeing in Iran is the US executing on its own air superiority doctrine so well that it has shattered whatever strategy that Iran may have had in place before the first bombs dropped in late February. America's B-52s are carrying out wave after wave of strikes, Afterburner points out, and they're neutralizing potential threats before they ever have the chance to become actual threats to the US, Israel, or the many Gulf nations that Iran is trying to target with its missiles. The tactics are textbook here, Afterburner explains, adding, suppress air defenses first with stealth, create the silent corridors, and then bring in the heavies for that sustained pressure. The B-52 is among the heaviest of the heavies. Iran is feeling all 70,000 pounds of its payload weight every single day. Now, we mentioned a recent development that is going to lead to a lot more of the B-52 wreaking havoc in Iran during the coming days. That development is simple. The UK is now allowing the US to use its air bases. Specifically, RAF Fairford is in play, and it will likely be joined by the Diego Garcia base in the Indian Ocean. According to TWZ, 3 of America's B-52s have already arrived at the former base as of March 9th, having made the journey from Minot Air Force Base in North Dakota. And now that those bombers are there, Iran is set to discover what a truly sustained campaign is really all about. Why? The simple answer is that the UK allowing the US to use its air bases significantly cuts down on travel time for America's B-52s. Before the UK allowed the US in, America's B-52s had to travel from the US to Iran. Sure, they could be stationed at nearby bases once they arrived, though that came with the risk of being targeted by Iranian missile strikes. But even without taking that into consideration, the B-52s had to fly over the Atlantic Ocean, then over Europe and parts of Asia to reach their targets. Multiple aerial refueling stops were needed to get the bombers to Iran and back, and even on the most basic level, longer flights create more opportunities for things to go wrong. With RAF Fairford in play, the flight time for a B-52 has been cut down drastically. Defense Industry explains more. It says that the distance between Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri, which is where America's first fleet of B-52s flew from, and Iran is about 11,000 kilometers, or around 6,835 miles. That's getting pretty close to the B-52's range of 8,800 miles, and that's before you take the return journey into account. However, the distance between RAF Fairford is just 4,500 kilometers, or 2,796 miles. That's far less than half the distance, and it creates the opportunity for American bombers to fly into Iran, unleash their payloads, and then return to a base that is well out of range of Iranian retaliation, but still comfortably within the range of the B-52. Even with a round trip, a B-52 still has over 3,000 miles of flying left in the tank when deploying from RAF Fairford. The U.S. is also very familiar with this particular base. As the BBC reports, the U.S. Air Force's 501st Combat Support Wing has worked on the base for a long time, and it provides support for America's bomber fleet. B-1s, B-2s, and B-52s have all been stationed at the base before. No infrastructure needs to be built because it's already in place. The U.S. has teams that can maintain its bombers and keep them flying, and the odds are that we're also going to start to see American cargo planes head into RAF Fairford with ammunition to keep the B-52s and other bombers loaded. And adding to all of this is the simple fact about the American bombers traveling a much shorter distance to Iran that we haven't covered yet. The shorter the distance, the more frequent the attacks can become. For Iran, there is no end in sight to the havoc that the B-52 is wreaking on its missile infrastructure. If anything, the UK bases coming into play mean that the already devastating strikes that we've seen so far are going to escalate in intensity and frequency. Trump has also made it very clear that the US is going to keep hitting Iran until the job is done, with that job seemingly being the complete collapse of the country's regime. When asked on March 9th when he thought the war would end, Trump said that the US had already eliminated 2 levels of Iran's leadership, adding, "Most people have never even heard about the leaders that they're talking about. We're achieving major strides toward completing our military objective." Major strides toward completion don't mean the war is done yet. Iran's decision to appoint Ali Khamenei's son, Moshtaba Khamenei, as its new supreme leader isn't helping things for Iran. As Al Jazeera reports, Trump has already slammed that appointment and rather unsubtly suggested that it won't last. In other words, Iran replacing one Khamenei with another isn't going to cut it. "I'm not going through this to end up with another Khamenei. I want to be involved in the selection," Trump said. Iran seems to think differently, so it's hard to see how it can negotiate for any sort of ceasefire as long as it's making leadership appointments that directly contradict what Trump wants for Iran. As long as those types of appointments are happening, the B-52s will keep flying. With every sortie will come more heavy shots against the asymmetric war strategy that Iran intended to employ. More missile bases and launch sites will blow up. The same goes for storage facilities and missile-building infrastructure. What this means for the new Khamenei is that he has essentially been appointed as the supreme leader of a country that has watched itself collapse in less than 2 weeks, at least from a military standpoint. And as Mojtaba Khamenei tries to plan for whatever he believes is going to come next, he has to deal with what we mentioned earlier. America's B-52s are closer than ever now that they're stationed at RAF Fairford. And that means the new Khamenei might be better served removing himself from the leadership picture before the US takes matters into its own hands with strikes that don't just target missile facilities. After all, it's not just B-52s and other bombers being closer than ever that Iran's new regime has to worry about. Aircraft carriers are still in and around the Persian Gulf region, and they're stocked with fighter jets that are causing just as much damage in Iran as America's bombers. Some will tell you that aircraft carriers are becoming obsolete. We have something to say about that, and you can find out what in our video. And if you enjoyed this video, remember to subscribe to The Military Show so you stay ahead of the curve on America's latest actions in Iran.